Hey, this is Dave Sharpe, and welcome to Legendary Marketer. This is going to be a little bit different than most videos because most videos are scripted and they're produced with all of these cameras and this huge setup and these directors and these producers. And I just wanted to speak to you just from the heart, just off the top of my head about what we're doing here and why it's so different. Back in 2008 was, at the lowest point of my life. And I was homeless, I was addicted, I had just so many odds against me, and all I wanted to do was get back on my feet. I wanted to be a great dad, I wanted to have a family of my own, and I just had some things that I had to tighten up. I needed a hand up, not particularly a hand out. So I went to my dad's house, who I hadn't seen in a couple of years, and I knocked on his door. And I asked him essentially in so many words to help me save my life. And I started working construction with him. And he took me to these jobs and he paid me out of his own pocket. And as I got back on my feet and I went from sleeping on his couch to actually sleeping on a real bed, I started to realize that I wanted to turn my mess into a message. And I also wanted to get out of the rat race. I realized that so much of what I had learned and heard growing up, Dave, if you just go to school, you just graduate high school, you go to college, you get a good job, you put money into your 401k, you'll be just fine. I realized that it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look around and see that that's not true. So I wanted to set myself up for a better future. By this time, I had met my wife. She wasn't my wife then. I had my daughter. We had a little house that we lived in. I still drove an old 1990 Ford F-150. I had to start it with a screwdriver. There was more rust on it than paint. But I had a vision and I had a desire. I wanted to do something with my life. I wanted to make more money. I wanted to have a better future. But I didn't know how to get there because I had all these odds against me. So my wife let me borrow her credit card and I went to Best Buy. It was with her permission, and I bought a $600 computer. And I came back, and I made a decision that I was going to learn how to build an internet marketing business because I couldn't afford to get into a franchise. I couldn't afford to start my own business. I couldn't get a small business loan. I didn't want to get into real estate or any of that other stuff because I just didn't have the startup cost. But I knew I could get started with internet marketing for low startup cost and low overhead. And so that's what I did. And I paid that computer back $50 a month until I had it paid off. And at first I struggled. I didn't know anything. I had to learn. And eventually I started to earn, but it took some time. I made my first dollar. I made my first $10, $100, $1,000. Made my first $10,000. I'll never forget. And from there, I realized that I was onto something, and I realized that there was opportunity, which is what every single person has come to this country in the history of this country for. One thing, opportunity. They come here to the United States of America because, there's more opportunity here than anywhere else in the world. However, the game has changed, and now that opportunity is for every single person on earth through the power of the internet. And so over the course of the last 8 years, I've developed a passion, not only for internet marketing, but I've also developed a passion for people, to train and explain and teach them how to create their own future, how to change or alter the course of maybe generations of poverty inside of their family, on how to break away from the rat race. And I know that that's a hard thing to do. Because when the herd is running one way and you all of a sudden look over to the person that you're running next to and you say, "Why are we running?" And they say, "Because everybody else is doing it." And unfortunately, some people do that for 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 years and they never ask any questions until it's too late. Statistics show that a large majority of people are retiring with $3,000 to $12,000 to their name. Research shows that the majority of Americans have $1,000 or less in their bank account. So we are in a time right now to where entrepreneurship in marketing, it needs to be taught. And unfortunately, it's not being taught in our school system. It's not being taught in our universities. People are leaving unequipped. They're leaving with the information from people who have never done it, and they go into the workforce and they wonder why they can't even get hired fresh out of college. And oh, by the way, that debt, that money that we borrowed, loaned you while you were in college, you're going to have to pay that back. And so they're not only coming out of college, our children, our kids coming out of college with no experience and struggling in the workforce, fighting over the same jobs, right? But they also are starting their life out with a mountain of debt. We can change that by teaching people entrepreneurship, by teaching people marketing, and that's what we do here at Legendary Marketer. My passion has become making an impact on people's lives through changing their financial destiny and also helping them turn their mess into a message and their struggles into their strengths, just like I did. So we have education, we have programs, we have courses, we have seminars, and we even have an ability for those people who are our evangelists. And we have an amazing community here of people who love our products, who go through our training, who come to our seminars, and then they turn around and refer other people into our seminars and workshops because they know that this information is valuable and it's needed in the marketplace. So we hope that we have an opportunity to be able to serve you in the future. I hope that I have an opportunity to be able to shake your hand maybe at one of the events in the near future. And between now and then, keep your head up, live with passion, and be blessed. Take care.